Ladies and gentlemen, McDonald's Cup Series Racing has returned after a 2-week hiatus. Live here from the Michigan International Speedway, it is the Consumers Energy 400. This is our 16th race of the season. After today, there will be 7 races to go in the McDonald's Cup Series season. So happy that you could be here with us. As always, I'm Elijah Leonard here, ready to bring you the action here at the Irish Hills of Michigan. 100 laps to distance for these McDonald's Cup Series drivers, and it should be a very fun one. A track that is somewhat similar to Fontana. Only difference is that this pavement is about 10 to 12 years older, or younger, I should say, than the Fontana Motor Speed, than Fontana, California. Well, this pavement, I should really rephrase, is far more fresh than what we had at Fontana. So these drivers are going to have a little bit more grip, but they're still going to be slip sliding around, especially with that awesome sauce that is just right around the top side of the racetrack through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it should make for some really good action-packed side-by-side racing where drivers might slip and slide all the way around the corners, but it should be good. It should be very fun to watch. Just in case if you missed it, just 2 weeks ago, we had ourselves a very chaotic, wild, crazy, but very interesting Indianapolis Motor Speedway race, the Brickyard 400, that saw John Andrews take the checkered flag for the second time this season and join Tyler Belladonna as a 2-time winner here in the McDonald's Cup Series. And speaking of, this is a perfect segue into our point standings, as you can see right there with that win. John Andrews retakes the points lead with 370 points to his name. Edson Hernandez falls to second after a horrible day at Indianapolis just a few weeks ago. 352 points to his name. Alex Savatali climbing his way back up into the top 5 with 345 points to his name. Tyler Belladonna drops to 4th with 344. Will Parrish completing the top 5. Amongst all the drivers that are winless this season, he is running the very best in the point standings, still looking for win number 1 on the McDonald's Cup Series. He has 336 points in his bank account. Skylar Taylor with 319. And then we have 2 ties. Rogel Dorn, our Kansas winner, and Val Moscow, our Las Vegas winner, both would be scored 7th. But due to Microsoft Excel physics, or really I should say Google Sheets physics, Dorn breaks that tie. So Dorn would be 7th, Moscow would be 8th, and then we have another tie with BB Hange and Chad Gronkowski. Those drivers both with 301, but again, Google Sheets physics kicking in here with BB Hange breaking that tie. So Hange would be 9th and Gronkowski would be completing your top 10. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of your point standings coming into today's race here at the Michigan International Speedway. Lots of other drivers who I thought were going to have some pretty good runs. I mean, some of those drivers that were towards the front of the field, they needed good runs, and some of them got them. Nathan Stapleton, who was the hometown hero going into that event, ended up starting towards the back of the field and managed to work his way up towards, I'd say, right around mid-pack, because taking advantage of other drivers' misfortunes. But unfortunately, the points really haven't quite paid off. You can see there, dead last in the point standing still with 170 points to his name. Tatiana Noguera, who ended up finishing second, I believe second, in the Brickyard 400, 223 points to their name. And then Sebastian Palmer, who wound up finishing inside of the top 5 alongside Noguera, 224. So the points, as you can see, are very, very close. And I believe they're going to stay that exact same way leaving here today at the Michigan International Speedway. But we're going to find out what those points are going to look like after 100 laps to distance. You'll find those out in the Discord in due time. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineup for the Consumers Energy 400. You see a pair of Toyotas, a pair of Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas to be more specific, with Michael Young and Kyler Sustry making up the front row. Tyler Belladonna and Bob Floyd, a duo of Stewart-Haas racing cars, will make up row number 2. Val Mosco, Casey Wells, duo of Chevys, and a second duo of Chevys, making up the 3rd row. Then another duo of Chevys, making up row number 4 with Dale Johnson and Michael DeFeo. And then Chad Gronkowski, BB Haynes, that is your top 10. Then we have Matthew Hubert, Avon Murray, Damian Kyle Wood, Will Parrish, Travis Crampton, Nathan Stapleton starting 16th. Then we have Daniel Adams, PJ Vidal, Alex Rampus, Terry Walker completing the top 20 with Rogel Dorn, Zachary Fitzwater, Durrani Steidel, hometown hero for her, hometown race for her. So this is going to be very interesting to see how she will perform in this event. Then we have Colin Block, John Felber, Sebastian Palmer, Edson Hernandez starting deep in the field, along with Derek Hamill, Bryce Egan completing the top 30. Then Sammy Cars, Jeremiah Simpson, Josh Lee, Mitchell O'Brien, Skylar Taylor, Roberto Crown Jr., Wyatt Walker, points leader John Andrews starting 38th in this 100 lapper. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of cards he'll be able to play here in this race that will get him back up towards the front of the field. So that way he can rack up some really good and very well needed points in order to maintain his points lead heading over to Chicago in 2 weeks. Tatiana Noguera, Stephen Colon, Matt Jones, and Alex Savatali rounding out the field in the provisional spot. So you're noticing that there are some drivers that are inside of the top 10 in the point standings. Like, for example, Andrews, Savatali, Edson Hernandez, just to point out a few of them, Skylar Taylor. All of them starting towards the back of the field. So they're going to have their work cut out for them here in the Consumers Energy 400 at the Michigan International Speedway. So happy that you guys could be here with us here on this amazing and very beautiful day here in the Irish Hills of the Michigan International Speedway. The stakes are getting ever so higher, and with that, the intensity rate just picks up a little bit more. So, with that said, we're going to pass it off to the drivers. They're strapped into their cars. The pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 42 behemoths rolling onto the banks of the Michigan International Speedway, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
There it is. Engines have been fired. Pace car rolls off. And so are these 42 competitors. Make sure that everybody is rolling off. And so far, that is 1,000,000% the case. As mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, after today, there will be 7 races to go in the McDonald's Cup Series season. This is the furthest, as I've also pointed out, this is the furthest that we have ever gone in this in the series. So this is pretty much unknown territory at this point. But it's been a very fun season thus far, and we are just getting ready to bring it on home for the next these next 8 races. And Michigan is one of those tracks that I have been highly, highly looking forward to. Not just because that it's a home race, and not just because it's a home track for me, but it's one that has definitely been very exciting for other NR series to come to. But as they work their way through turn 4 this time around, the duo of Toyotas, the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas at that, of Michael Young and Kyler Sustry, they're going to lead him down the front straightaway and into the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're racing in Michigan. Belladonna wasting no time whatsoever, getting down to the inside. Remember, he started third in this race. He is already using that bottom to his advantage. But look up top, Michael Young in that awesome sauce, holding on to the race lead. He's going to get just that, and he'll lead lap number 1 here in the Consumers Energy 400. Sustrai moves up into the second position. Belladonna is going to get kicked back to third, possibly fourth, maybe even fifth here if he's not careful. We're going to look at turns 3 and 4 from the skybox here. And just look at how these drivers are managing this racetrack. Some of them are up on that top side, and they're getting some really, really great grip. But you saw Belladonna go all the way down to the inside, right down against that white line through 3 and 4. That is where there is very little to no grip. You get your left sides down there, and you are just gonna fishtail it. You're gonna get a little bit loose. You're gonna have to get out of the throttle, and you're gonna lose a lot of valuable positions, like we just saw right there. Belladonna was in 7th when they crossed the line, so he's probably going to lose at least 6, 7, maybe 8 positions from the looks of things. We're going to keep track of Belladonna and see where he's at. Definitely outside of the top 10. That is a fact. He lost 4 positions, so 6. So I was pretty accurate on what I just said there. So he went from 7th all the way back to 13th, just outside of the top 10. And you're also noticing that a racetrack like Michigan International Speedway, when we go to these other 2-mile to 2.5-mile racetracks, tracks like these can be very, very dependent on the draft. So you're going to see a lot of these guys ride the top side, and in some of them are going to be in single file lines. That is where you'll want to be, in those little lines. And some of the drivers that are down trying to pass on the inside, especially on the front straightaway, you'll find that they're having a little bit of a harder time trying to pass down there because they don't really have all that much help. Or really, in this case, not that good of a run as you're seeing with Johnson and Haynes. They got a little loose. They had to get out of the gas. So they're going to lose a little bit of time on the front straightaway. But if you're in the top side here, you might have yourself a pretty good opportunity to gain more positions right around the outside. And that's what we just saw at the very beginning of the race, where Young was able to retain the race lead coming through 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway because of that amazing monster run that he got, because of that awesome sauce and because of that grip that he's been getting. So it wouldn't be too surprising to see him right around here, right where he's been best since the drop of the green flag. It wouldn't be too surprising to see him right up there all day long. So, and plus pit stops are going to be coming into effect here right around, I'd say right around lap 24 to 27-ish. I'd say that's the pit window at best. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. But we're quite a ways away from that. Casey Wells has been nabbing away and trying to get this race lead away from Michael Young for the last 3 to 4 laps now, down on that inside. But you saw there, got a little bit loose, had to check up, and now is going to be under fire from Bob Floyd right around this outside line. And Floyd's got he's just hanging there on that right rear quarter panel. Possibly might try to get a run, but actually look at this, through 1 and 2, Casey Wells is actually able to maintain that second position. Is going to tuck in behind the 18 and get up in front of the 10 of Floyd. Here comes Val Mosco in the 88. Oh, he got a little bit loose there. He had to check up and get out of the throttle. And that cost him some very valuable time. How about Nathan Stapleton slicing from the middle all the way down to the bottom? Unfortunately, not quite succeeding, or I might be wrong here, because Sustrai was starting to lose a little bit of ground. Didn't have enough speed down the front straightaway, and that put him in the middle of a 3-wide situation for a second. But Nathan Stapleton, you noticed, he got a little bit loose through 1 and 2, and he had to get out of the gas. So he's going to lose a couple positions there. He might lose more to Terry Walker and Will Parrish, who are also in a side-by-side battle. This looks like this is for the 11th position, I want to say. I was wrong. That looked to be for the 9th position. I think they were just 4 wide for a second. And battle for the race lead is on. Here comes Casey Wells to the inside of Michael Young as they hit the back straightaway. Wells with the advantage, still trying to make the bottom work. And it looks like she's just gonna make it work. Can she make the clear up? Yes, she can. So now it's the Michael and Michael show, fighting for the 2nd position. That's Michael DeFeo in the 40, underneath of Michael Young in the 18. Now DeFeo wound up winning at a racetrack similar to this. Remember, as I mentioned, Fontana, California, at the Auto Club Speedway. He managed to hold off a hard-charging Stephen Colon and managed to make the fuel last, and he wound up winning at Fontana in very convincing fashion earlier in the season. He could very well do the exact same thing here in Michigan with the racetrack that is a similar configuration. Young now down to the inside. He just took the race lead back, tried to make the bottom work. He did it, and now he's going to try to make it work through 1 and 2. Gonna make that look pretty easy. And Michael Young goes back to the race lead. Now, another thing I forgot to point out about the points is that we are no longer in the summer shootout. So those 5 races have already come and gone. We've gone back to our normal point situation where if you lead a lap, it's 1 bonus point. Leading the most laps is 5 bonus points, 10 bonus points for winning the race, along with those traditional 40 points for finishing in first place. A max total that you can get for that. Obviously the 40 points for finishing in first, plus 1 for the 1 bonus point, plus 5 that brings you up to 46. So 56 total bonus points that you can get. At least 56 bonus points. My math could be off, but that's how it is. Nia Steidl, who ended up starting this race in the 28th position in 13 laps, she has already moved her way up to the 9th spot. Steidl doing an absolutely amazing job here in this event. She just recently celebrated her 21st birthday last week, and now trying to add on to that little celebration by trying to get her first McDonald's Cup Series win here at Michigan. She clipped the white line there through 3 and 4, so she must have gotten a little bit loose and is going to lose a couple positions. She's going to fall outside of the top 10, but she still has a pretty good chance of getting back up there. But they are 3 wide pretty much everywhere. Just look at this mess. A lot of these drivers are just definitely, they may be double file, but I wouldn't quite depend on them being double file through these corners. I mean, just look at this. Look at how much they spread out through these corners, through the turns. Almost 3 wide. They are 3 wide there. That's PJ Vidal in the 13, who is another driver, keep in mind, that needs good runs like these week in and week out. That needs the points badly if he wants to get out of the top 40, top 35 in the point standings and rocket his way up. He needs to do all that in order to try to move his way up in the point standings, and so far he's getting that good run inside of the top 10, running in the 7th position currently. He might get another one here. Ooh, that's very close there between Casey Wells and Terry Walker. How about Travis Crampton in the middle of a 3 wide situation? That is our Daytona 500 winner. BB Haynes rocketing around the top side. DeFeo on the bottom. And they're almost 4 wide here at the Michigan International Speedway through turns 1 and 2. But you can also notice here that these cars have spread out just a little bit more. So they're not in this very tight and condensed pack like they were at the very beginning of the race. And this is partial, and again, this goes back to mostly just the grip levels. The Awesome Sauce having a monstrous amount of grip, and then basically that gray area where it is kind of the sweet spot depending on how your car handles, and then the very, very low spot, just if you get your left side tires down below that gray area, down below, down onto those little white lines, yellow lines, if you're going through 1 and 2, the white lines through 3 and 4, that is the trouble spot. So Young, Sustry, still fighting it out for the race lead. And then we have this number 2 of Will Parrish moving up into the 3rd position. Casey Wells still hanging around inside of the top 5. And then we have Val Moscow completing the top 5 in the 5th position. Now under fire from BB Hange, our Daytona 500 winner, who also won the Pumpkin 250 back in 2023. He'll be in this year's Pumpkin 250, and he could very well go back-to-back this year. Could very well do it. That is still quite some time from now. And they are still fighting hard as if it's the last lap, but it's still very early. We're almost a quarter of the way done here in the Consumers Energy 400 here at the Michigan International Speedway. Battle for the race lead is on between Parrish and Young. Parrish still trying to look for his first win on the season. Young still trying to also get his first win. There's a couple drivers that are looking for their second wins on the year. Terry Walker, Val Moscow, they're both looking for their second. BB Hange looking for his second. So there's a lot of drivers that are up towards the front of the field that are either looking for their first win. That's more. I mean, you're going to find more of those drivers in the top 10 than you are going to be trying to find drivers that are looking for win number 2 on this year. Speaking of drivers that are looking for win number 3, you're going to have to go all the way back here, one of them being John Andrews, who won the Brickyard 400 back on the 20th of July. He is all the way back in the 37th position. Tyler Belladonna, he's coming to pit road right now, so it looks like green flag pit stops are going to be... Oh, whoops, didn't mean to do that. So it looks like green flag pit stops are going to be starting just a little bit earlier than what I thought they were going to. I do apologize for that. I did not mean to hit those buttons. So it looks like Vidal and Tyler Belladonna are in. But Tyler Belladonna is also looking for win number 3 on the year. And we are going to have those pit stops coming a lot earlier than what I thought. Young, Hange, Moscow, Damian Kyle Wood is in. Chad Gronkowski. Also the 26 of Alex Savatali. This is a big group of cars that are all coming on down pit road. So this will give the race lead over to the 2 of Parrish. Wells will be second, but these drivers will have to come down pit road. And that is exactly what's going to happen. Parrish is going to bring this group of cars on down. This contains Wells, Floyd, Terry Walker, Crampton, DeFeo, Sustry, Fitzwater, Steidel, Felber, Simpson. Also, Mitchell O'Brien, our Daytona winner, who won the Pepsi 400 earlier last month. Actually, lots of damage to the 5 of Bryce Egan. He must have gotten into the back of somebody. I would have to assume it was the 34 of Josh Lee. That probably was just a stack up trying to get into the pit road area. Sebastian Palmer, who won the Coca-Cola 600 back in May. He's bringing his car down to pit road. And this is going to be very interesting on who is going to be the race leader after this first round of green flag pit stops. I would have to assume it would be the 95 of BB Hange. He just got around the 2 of Parrish, the 7 of Wells, and the 48 of Terry Walker just as they were making their way back out onto the racetrack. So I believe it would be pretty safe to say that the race lead will go back to the 95, will go to the 95 actually, of BB Hange. Once he gets by the 83 of Sebastian Palmer, which he has done just that. So pit stops will be officially complete. This is going to bring BB Hange to the lead, looking for his second win on the season. Running in second, well, fighting for second, currently scored second. This time around, it's going to be a 3-horse fight for the runner-up spot currently. But running in second now will be the 18 of Michael Young, then third, currently scored third, will be the 13 of PJ Vidal. Belladonna will be shown fourth, then fifth, Val Moscow, sixth, Will Parrish, seventh, the 38 of Damian Kyle Wood, seventh, that's Damian Kyle Wood. Eighth will be the 7 of Casey Wells. Ninth will be the 26 of Alex Savatali, and Derek Hamill showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time today. A quarter of the way done here in the Consumers Energy 400. And he has already moved up inside of the top 10 via pit strategy. So, pretty good run here for Derek Hamill. We haven't really talked too much about him all season, but so far he's definitely putting on a good show, and he's doing a pretty heck good job here today here at the Michigan International Speedway. 4-car fight for the top spot between between Young, Belladonna, and Vidal, as well as BB Hange. Tyler Belladonna, who remember, ended up being amongst the first cars to come to pit road. He and PJ Vidal were the first two to come into pit. And I thought Tyler Belladonna was going to be well in the back of the field, but that just so happens to be not the case. Remember, he started third in this race. Started third. He fell outside of the top 10 early. He fell back quite a ways. And now here he is, currently being shown once again inside of the top 5. He just lost second to PJ Vidal. He might lose third to Michael Young once they hit turn number 1. Also, what's up, Karu? How we doing? Hope your weekend's been going well. Usually I don't break the fourth wall when it comes to this stuff, but I try, you know, I do my best. But anyways, focusing back in, we have PJ Vidal trying to get this race lead away from BB Hange, trying to get his second win on the year. PJ Vidal trying to go for his first. He could have very well scored his first win at Darlington. He was very, very dominant over there earlier this year back in May. But unfortunately, Under Caution was the only car that wound up coming to pit road, and that ended up screwing up his entire day. He managed to muscle his way back through the field, but unfortunately was not able to get further up, and he wound up, I believe, finishing in the 17th position. So he got some very valuable points, but unfortunately just was not able to close it out with a win, and he's very well trying to fix that. We're doing good, man. We're doing good. What was a 4-car fight has now turned into a 5-horse fight. A 6, 7, 8. Oh my gosh, close call here. Between the 38 and the 7. That's DK Wood in the 38. Casey Wells in the 7. Both of those drivers ended up getting together there through turn 4, but thankfully it didn't escalate. And we stay green. Wells ends up losing 2 positions because of that. Actually, it loses the 8th spot to Hamill. So Wells was going to wound up trying again here. Down to the inside. Battle for the race lead is on there with Young and Hange. But Casey Wells trying to use that bottom to her advantage. And it's kind of worked there for a moment. Trying to get that 8th spot back from Derek Hamill. And also, right behind them is a fight for the 10th position. Terry Walker in the 48, Savatali in the 26, Both of these drivers wound up winning at Martinsville for the 26 of Salvatali and Nashville for Terry Walker. Oh man, what a crossover right there that we just saw there. Walker tried to close the door on the 26, and Salvatali answered back with a crossover, just slicing all the way back down to the bottom. And he's going to try to take that 10th position back from the 48 of Terry Walker. And they are double file right over here, at least for the moment. Young trying to make the bottom work. Here comes here comes Vidal to the inside. Young had to back out of the gas, and now he's going to lose the 3rd spot to Will Parrish. And Vidal's going to lead that lap across the stripe, just barely. So he'll pick up that bonus point for leading a lap. Meanwhile, Will Parrish in that number 2, trying to make things happen. I thought he was going to try to thread the needle, split the middle 3 wide. And it looks like that's going to happen here. Actually, maybe not. I thought that was going to happen, but it looked like Parrish thought twice of that and just barely got back in line behind the 95 of Hange. And Derek Hamill was in a very precarious situation, being in the middle of that 3 wide battle, almost 4 wide here coming through turn 2. But they are 3 abreast here at Michigan, and this is for the 2nd position. Into turn 3, Vidal and Hamill lost a lot of ground there, so they're going to fall back quite a ways. Battle for 2nd between Moscow and Will Parrish is on, as BB Hange is loving every single second of this. He is starting to check out. With 36 laps complete, we're almost to that halfway point. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw these drivers come back down pit road yet again. I would say actually right around lap 40, because these drivers have been coming in at least on lap 21. That's when that pit cycle really started. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that happened again with the 13 and the 4, but we'll just have to be very careful and see what happens on pit entry, especially with those two, since they started that pit cycle. You also noticed Parrish just barely led lap 37 over the 95 of BB Hange. Just think if that was the finish of this race. We could very well see that here today. We could very well see that. Hange back down to the inside, trying to get that race lead back. He's got it for the moment. Edges out Parrish at the stripe. Tyler Belladonna, looking for win number 3 on the year, is already on the attack. Trying to get back down to the inside to take that 2nd position away. He will do just that. Well, at least not take 2nd away yet. He's working on it. He'll get there. Meanwhile, we're going to take a look further back in the field. There's Nathan Stapleton in the 42, having himself a pretty good day today, riding in that 13th position. Trying to fend off Dale Johnson, the 2nd and 27, down to the inside, heading back through turn number 1. And it looks like Johnson is actually going to take that 13th position away. They're 3 wide over here with Jeremiah Simpson. I see Roberto Crown Jr. there. DeFeo now in the middle, Steidel on the bottom. And I thought the 41, the 4, and the 13 were going to wound up coming to pit road here. But that might happen possibly this time around. Let's actually keep an eye on the 4 and the 13 in this group right here, as Parrish and Hange trading that race lead like they're trading Pokemon cards. So Parrish goes back to the race lead. Watch for that 95 to duck low, heading through turns 3 and 4, just barely getting the nose underneath of the 2. And it looks like Vidal and Belladonna are going to be waiting on coming to pit road at least possibly another lap or two. We're still going to keep an eye on him. There's Bryce Egan in the 5. Remember, had that massive amount of contact, massive amount of damage on pit road. And that sent it back quite a ways, and unfortunately, he is going to be going one lap down. Not the way that Bryce Egan really envisioned his day on turning out. Out of contention early, still in the race though, but not in contention for this race win. Page is going to drop low. He'll get by the 5 here pretty easily. But watch what happens here. That top is going to get held up. So Parrish, Walker, Taylor, Wood, Wells, they're all going to get held up by this 5. Vidal going to try to take advantage of as much as he possibly can. But that is not going to be one easy task at all. Taylor and Walker cut down in front of the 13 of Vidal. And now he's going to lose a little bit of ground. Vidal will. He's definitely going to be falling outside of the top 10 here very, very shortly. But Hange goes back to the point. Well, Hange retains the race lead, at least currently. Val Moscow trying to go for that top position. Ooh, Taylor and Walker making a little bit of contact there. And here comes the 13 and the 4. Belladonna and Vidal both enter the pits on lap 45. Roberto Crown Jr. actually is going to join them. So that makes 3 cars that have made their way down to pit road. So now, as you see Val Moscow assume the race lead. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it back around to lead this lap. That's not going to be the case. Moscow is going to lead down the 95 of Hange, the 15 of Skylar Taylor, Wood, Savatali, Hamill, Stapleton, Johnson, John Andrews, whom actually has made up a little bit of ground. 28th of contact there between Dorn and Hernandez. Lucky for the both of them, especially for Rogel Dorn, that there is no nose damage on the one machine of Rogel Dorn. Here comes the 48 of Terry Walker. He's going to bring Michael Young, Casey Wells, Gronkowski, Fitzwater. Also the 40 of Michael DeFeo, Jeremiah Simpson, Nia Steidel. More of these cars coming on down into the pit area, as we are just shy of the halfway mark here in the Consumers Energy 400 here at the Michigan International Speedway. So glad that you guys could be here with us here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Race 16 on the McDonald's Cup Series circuit. After today, there'll be 7 races left. If you're just tuning in, I forgot to bring this up a little bit ago, but if you're just tuning in, we have been caution-free. Up to this point, we have been caution-free. 47 laps complete. Currently, Mitchell O'Brien assumes the race lead. I'm sure he has to come down pit road. But as of up to this point, as of right now, we have been absolutely caution-free. But we have had some really good racing here at the Michigan International Speedway, especially for a caution-free event, which is actually a little bit surprising in my personal opinion. I thought there would have been at least maybe 1 or 2 yellow flags, but that's still, the chances of that happening are still not 0. So it could happen here within these next few laps. Taylor to the inside of Walker. As Will Parrish making his way back out on the racetrack. So this will mean, I believe, Skylar Taylor would wound up assuming the lead for the first time here today. Getting a little bit of distance between himself and the Hendrick cars of Walker and Moscow. They still have to get by Mitchell O'Brien, which I'm pretty sure they did just that. O'Brien is probably already exiting the pits and making his way back out on the racetrack. There he is in car number 3. He won at Daytona earlier back in July. The Pepsi 400. And now he's finding himself in a position to where he might just wound up falling back quite a ways. So your top 10 is going to look like this on the halfway point here in the Consumers Energy 400 here at Michigan. It is Skylar Taylor currently holding on to the race lead. PJ Vidal currently being scored second. Then Terry Walker third. Moscow fourth. BB Haynes completed the top 5 with Roberto Crown Jr. in the 6th position, showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time today. Tyler Belladonna 7th. Derek Hamill currently being scored 8th. DK Wood 9th. And Alex Salvatali. That is your top 10 currently up till now. Now that has changed. Terry Walker moves up to 2nd and is going to try to chase down the 15 of Skylar Taylor. Already halfway through. 50 down, 50 to go here at the Michigan International Speedway. And we have been caution-free in the first half. The second half, we're just going to have to find out. See what kind of racing that we're going to be in for at the half. In the second half of this race here at Michigan. Terry Walker down to the inside of the 15 of Skylar Taylor. Down through turn number 1. Going to try to make that bottom work. So far, he's got it. He edges ahead. He's got BB Haynes right behind him. Haynes could possibly make this 3 wide if he so chooses, but I don't think he's going to have that good of a run. That is indeed the case. But you see right here, this is a pack of 10 cars. This is all your top 10 right here in this little group. And then we go a little bit further back. There's the 7 of Casey Wells, currently being shown 11th right now. And then the fight is on between Michael Young and also Will Parrish, both of them fighting side by side for the 12th position. Then we go a little bit further back here. There's Colin Block actually having himself a really good day today. Zachary Fitzwater also having himself a good race thus far. Currently shown 17th, but still pretty good result. He's still in this thing. He could wound up getting some pretty good points leaving here today at Michigan if he plays his cards right. There's Nia Steidel in the 41, whom, as I mentioned at the very beginning of the race, she started 28th and had made her way inside of the top 10 within the first 13 laps of the event, but since then has kind of fallen back right around towards this point, hanging around in the 15th position, but still, for a hometown hero, she's doing an absolutely amazing job currently. Now going to go down to the inside of the number 20 of Jeremiah Simpson. Unfortunately, does not have that kind of help, so he's not going to quite be able to succeed in that regard, but definitely a very good running here for this 41 of Nia Steidel. Let's check in with the points leader. There's John Andrews in the 17. Remember, he came into this race as the points leader. 370 points to his name. It started all the way back in the 38th position, now being shown in the 21st spot. So he has made up a pretty significant amount of ground since starting this race. 4 wide, right in front of the points leader. That was actually kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. But as far as Andrews' case, gaining at least 17 positions since the drop of the green flag, actually very impressive. Skylar Taylor, as you just saw there, has just lost the race lead to Terry Walker and is now going to lose second to BB Haynes across the stripe. So now Terry Walker assumes the top position, and is that 4 wide that I'm looking at here? That is indeed 4 wide, and they're crashing on the back straightaway. Taylor, Hange around, Tyler Belladonna collected. Val Moscow around, and that is going to bring out a caution. Terry Walker is going to lead him down to the yellow flag. First time that the yellow flag waves. And it comes out on lap 57. My, oh my, the complexions of this race have changed. Tyler Belladonna, a little bit of moderate damage to the nose of this number 4 machine, but he should be okay to continue, but unfortunately, he's not going to be up to speed like everyone else would be. But let's see. Yeah, he's still going to keep going. But my, oh my, the plot has thickened just a little bit more. There's Skylar Taylor, who had themselves an amazing run today. Unfortunately, is going to take a pretty big hit in the point standings. We also saw Val Moscow, who was involved in that incident as well. We just passed him. There he is. It was just a little spin for the number 88, but fortunately he is able to continue. I see BB Hange with some damage on the passenger side of his race car. He should be okay to continue as well. But that, my oh my, that got interesting. And so is this. So PJ Vidal winds up winning the race off of pit road. Roberto Crown Jr. comes out second. Colin Block third. John Andrews fourth. Nathan Stapleton completing the top 5. Then we have Terry Walker. Alex Savatali. Tons of front end damage to his race machine, so he is going to be very well off the pace. But he comes off of pit road in 8th. Simpson comes out 9th. And Sebastian Palmer, actually, Michael Young, came out of the pits in the 10th position. So it looks like Tyler Belladonna, I'm not sure if he's going to be shown as the race leader, but we're going to have to see once they cross the stripe this time around. And let's see. Okay, so I was correct. PJ Vidal will be shown as the race leader. Let's go back and take a look at what happened that caused that first yellow flag of the day. That got pretty chaotic really, really quick. But as I had somewhat alluded to, as I implied, this was sort of bound to happen. And we're going to look at this from an aerial perspective. This is a fight for the second position. And you're going to see here BB Hange in the 95, Derek Hamill in the 47, Skylar Taylor in the 15, and PJ Vidal in the 13. It turned into 4 wide when it looks like Skylar Taylor was going to at least make some room here for this 13, but wounds up getting into the 47, who then pushes up into the 95, and then it's on from here. Just ends up going sideways. This is the 47 of Derek Hamill. There's where Savatali actually gets his damage. I think he ends up pancaking the wall. Actually, no, he keeps going. But you see Belladonna. You see Val Moscow go around. Skylar Taylor as well. But I do believe the number 4 does get it straightened back up. And he does keep going right here. So thank goodness for that. So all these cars are going to wound up continuing But if you're in the position of Alex Savatali, of course, you're not going to be up to speed like everyone else. So it's pretty unfortunate, but to say the least, the only thing I believe that Savatali can be thankful for is that he is able to continue after this. We're going to watch this live at full speed. That has to be an absolutely helpless feeling, though, for Derek Hamill to get absolutely sandwiched the way that he just did. But thankfully, all these drivers are able to continue. Some of them with very little damage. Some moderate damage to the 15 and the 4, Taylor and Belladonna. And of course, the driver that got the worst end of that stick was the 26 of Alex Savatali. And unfortunately, he's going to take a pretty big hit in the point standings. And we're going to try to take this back to live action here at the Michigan International Speedway. What's going on, Jessica? How you doing? Hope your weekend's getting off to a really good start, and do want to appreciate everybody for coming on by, and so glad that you could be here with us here at the Michigan International Speedway. If you're just now tuning in, we are under caution for the first time here today. It waved on lap number 57 for the wreck that you might have just seen on the replay, with the 15 of Skylar Taylor, the 95 of BB Haynes, as well as the 47 of Derek Hamill, who unfortunately got sandwiched in between the 15 and the 95, and wound up causing what appeared to be just a slightly big incident, but not as big as what I thought it was going to be. And the driver that got the worst end of that stick was right here, the number 26 of Alex Savatali. He wound up getting a moderate amount of nose damage, but it was severe enough to where they had to remove the hood and then some on this number 26. So aerodynamically, he is not going to be up to speed with everybody else. In fact, he could potentially be down a cylinder. So we're going to have to wait and see how this restart is going to go, especially since he is being shown in the 7th position. And we did just get one to go. Lights are out on the pace car. We will be going green next time around on lap 62. With 61 complete, 39 laps to go in the Consumers Energy 400 here at the Michigan International Speedway. After today, there'll be 7 races left in the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series season. And it has been an absolute fun ride thus far here in the Cup Series. Your top 10 is going to look like this. Although Tyler Belladonna is shown out front, he is not the official race leader. He is 41st, just on the tail end of the lead lap. But your race leader currently is shown as the 13 of PJ Vidal. He will be the one that will be second in line once they restart this race. Running in second on the scoreboard is the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr., then Colin Block third, John Andrews, our points leader, in fourth. Terry Walker completes the top 5 with Stapleton in sixth. Seventh is the 26 of Alex Savatali. Well, it'll be interesting to see how he'll deal with this restart. Jeremiah Simpson 8th, Michael Young 9th, Sebastian Palmer completes the top 10. This is going to be a very interesting restart. 39 laps to go when they cross the stripe this time around. Here we go, green flag. And Belladonna is not up to speed whatsoever. He is dropping like an absolute boulder, if I may say. And I put a lot of emphasis in boulder. So he's going to be holding up pretty much everybody, trying to get out of the way. He's going to go to the middle, but it's going to get a little bit treacherous here. especially since they're all still trying to work their way around this number 4 machine of Belladonna. Everybody taking evasive action. 3, 4, almost 5 wide down the front straightaway. Felber putting his left sides down on the apron on the front stretch. But hopefully they're able to get by that number 4 here very flawlessly. Meanwhile, up front, John Andrews trying to go for win number 3 on the season. He's already up into the 2nd position. Now, what a story this would be. He started this race 38th. 38th, mind you. And he, throughout this entire portion of this race, the last time we checked in on him, he was running 21st. And caution is out yet again on the front straightaway. That's Mitchell O'Brien in the 3, Damian Kyle Wood 38, and the 15 of Skylar Taylor once again. Josh Lee, tons of damage to the number 34. Edson Hernandez also back here as well. So 2nd caution of the day flies here on lap 65. And Andrews just took the race lead away from the 13 of PJ Vidal. And you would have to believe that it just might have something to do with everybody's trying to get by this number 4 of Tyler Belladonna, who is very well off the pace from everyone else. I completely overestimated, I should say, I really underestimated, or I should say I was just dead wrong on seeing if Belladonna was going to be able to keep up with everybody else. Like, I knew he was going to be off the pace. I did not think it was going to be this bad. So Belladonna, of course, a lap down. He is going to have to stay out because, remember, he is not on the lead lap. So drivers that are 1 lap down or more, they do not pit until the next time around. All the lead lap cars do come down and pit, and that is exactly what's happening with some of these drivers. So, however, there are some that have elected to stay out. So, Vidal stays out. And how about this? This is actually kind of surprising. Savitali, no hood, crunched up front end of his car, and somehow he's in 3rd. That is very interesting. That is by far the most bizarre thing I think I've ever seen. I'm highly doubting that if we get into a green flag run, he's going to be hanging around inside of the top 5, at least for a while. But never say never. We've seen more interesting things here in NR 2003. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened that brought out our 2nd yellow flag of the day here at the Michigan International Speedway. Now, I would have to believe this has something to do with actually... Actually, it kind of does. But not really. You see the 3 of Mitchell O'Brien up high, and also the 31 of Edson Hernandez must have gotten into the left rear, yes, right there, and just keeps riding and riding and riding and riding all the way down into the nose of Damian Kyle Wood, who then gets into Bob Floyd. He bounces off of the 10, back into his own teammate, and that's what sends the 3 of O'Brien around. And Edson Hernandez, just trying to save his car, bounces right back into the 38. There's where Josh Lee gets his damage. There's where Skylar Taylor gets involved. And if you are the team owner at RCR, this right here, this picture that you just witnessed, of both of your cars involved in one accident, or really starting one accident, I should say, that is a nightmare come to life. So our second caution of the day, flying here at the Michigan International Speedway, involving the teammates, the Richard Childress Racing teammates of the 3 of O'Brien and the 31 of Edson Hernandez. Watch this. And it all just happens so fast, you barely have little time to react. So, some more drivers are unfortunately going to be a little bit off the pace, but even more unfortunate for the 34 of Josh Lee. He is going to be out of this race due to overheating issues. So, we have our first official retiree here at the Michigan International Speedway, and it is the number 34 of Josh Lee. So we're going to be heading back to live action. Here at the Michigan International Speedway. And we are just, I believe we might take one to go this time around, but then again, possibly not. But it's still very astonishing, to say the least. I want to go back to it. The 26, Alex Savatali, he ended up getting some pretty significant nose damage to his race machine. He still somehow managed to maintain 7th when he took the yellow flag, and especially coming off of pit road. But as of right now, after that restart, he has made his way up to 3rd position with a crunched up nose. That is absolutely unbelievable. I've never really seen anything like this. The resilience of this number 26 to stay up towards the front of the field and to actually not fall off the pace, just like of what we saw Tyler Belladonna do, is actually pretty impressive. And I do want to, and actually there were some drivers that, of course, along with those drivers that did wound up coming down to pit, one of them was the 17 of John Andrews. So it's actually kind of interesting, but he has indeed lost the race lead to the 13 of PJ Vidal because of that. But still hanging around inside of the top 10, still being shown in, of all places, the 10th position. So I believe we are going to get one to go this time by. And it's going to be the 13 of PJ Vidal, who is going to lead him back to the green flag to get this race restarted. Running in second will be the number 48 of Terry Walker, trying to go for his second win on the season. Alex Savatali, if he can pull this off, this will be, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be going nuts about this win if he's actually able to pull this off. But he's shown 3rd, also trying to go for his second win. Casey Wells, 4th, trying to go for her 1st. Zachary Fitzwater showing up inside of the top 5 for the first time today. He completes the top 5, also trying to go for his first win. Then we have Will Parrish, 6th. Ryan Durrani, also somebody who has shown up inside of the top 10 for the first time today. In 7th, Nia Steidel, 8th. Matthew Hubert, another driver who is also showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time. In 9th, and John Andrews completing the top 10. All of these other drivers, from Fitzy all the way back to Matthew Hubert, all of them trying to look for their first win, John Andrews trying to look for win number 3 on the season. Tyler Belladonna was in a pretty decent position to do just that, but unfortunately got wound up in that lap 57 crash, and that's why he is now 1 lap down officially. Pace car's off. PJ Vidal gonna get them all restarted on lap number 69. Here we go. And once again, Belladonna. Well off the pace.
Why are there so many cautious in one race in Michigan?
Now, I should have also muted that, so I do apologize for that. But nonetheless, 2-car breakaway between the 13 and the 48. And now everybody is also trying to get by this, the 5 of Egan as well as the 4 of Tyler Belladonna. I bet they're having just as fun of a time trying to get by the 4. Actually, they got by him pretty easily. So Belladonna's going to end up breaking free from that. Well, at least for now, they're out of the neck of the woods for when it comes. Oh no, big crash. And that's going to take out a lot of guys. What in the world? Egan upside down. BB Haynes collected. This is everybody. What in the world just happened? Terry Walker's gonna lead him down to the caution on lap 71. What in the world just happened? I believe that had something to do with trying to get by the 5 of Bryce Egan. That, my oh my, changes everything. That changes quite a bit, if I may say. Alex Rampus in the 32. Tons of front-end damage to his race machine. Same goes for the 43 of Sammy Cars. Rogel Dorn. Lots of damage to his race machine, the number 1. Kyler Sustry, driver side damage. Almost got front end damage from almost rear ending the number 47. What in the world did we just witness? There's Will Parrish, heavy damage to the 2. There's also Nia Steidel in the background, right behind Ryan Durrani in the 14, who just pulled into his pit. What in the world did we just witness? I am at shock. I am honestly at shock of what we just saw. Jib, thank you so much for those 100 biddies. Greatly do appreciate it. And for those that are tuning in, we're under caution for the 3rd time here today at the Michigan International Speedway, and you are about to witness why we are under caution for the 3rd time today. And it is, I'm telling you when I say this, massive. Just absolutely massive. And it was indeed the case. So looking at this, they are going to be 5 wide. This is all trying to get by the 5 of Bryce Egan. Everybody just trying to get by him as quickly as possible. But you see just barely 5 wide. Will Parrish gets into the left rear of Bryce Egan in the 5. Then gets sent down into the 26. And they ride up the racetrack and into the wall they go. And upside down goes the 5 of Bryce Egan. John Andrews getting a piece of that. Remember, Andrews comes in as the points leader, pancaking the right side of his car into the outside wall. There's Steidel and Johnson sliding down to the inside. Steidel goes head on into the inside wall. So does Johnson. There's Matt Jones in the 78 around. There's also Parrish. There's also Hamill, Felber, Wyatt Walker getting involved. Tyler Belladonna getting another piece of this. Skylar Taylor getting involved. And Mitchell O'Brien again getting caught up in another incident. That's the second one in a row It is just absolute pandemonium on the back straightaway here at the Michigan International Speedway. And turn 2 has been the trouble spot. It has been the trouble spot for quite a while. Whether if you're a WRLA fan, whether if you've been a fan of NOFSRL, whether if you've been a fan of the Trinity River Cup Series, whatever league you watched that came to this version of Michigan back in the day, turn 2, you knew very well was going to be the trouble spot. And it struck twice today. It has struck twice. Well, we're going to go back and watch this in real time. Focusing on the 5 of Bryce Egan. Just look at this. Up in the air goes the 5 of Egan. And then it's just absolute pandemonium on the back straightaway. Tatiana Noguera getting a piece of this as well. And then just this 5 just went tumbling in. Fortunately, comes back to rest on all 4 wheels. But just... this is going to knock out a lot of drivers with less than 30 laps to go here at the Michigan International Speedway. Just absolute chaos, if I may say. Here in the Consumers Energy 400, this is just absolute wild. Just wild, if I may say. So now back to live action. Parrish is just retired from this race along with BB Hange. So Hange, unfortunately, not going to go for win number 2. And neither will Will Parrish, who was looking for his first win of the season. Avon Murray is going to be out. He will join Will Parrish, BB Hange, Alex Savatali, Nia Steidel, Tatiana Noguera, Matt Jones, Skylar Taylor, Mitchell O'Brien, Tyler Belladonna, Bryce Egan, who all will also join Josh Lee in the garage area. Unfortunately, those drivers have smelled what the Rock was cooking. So we have 30 cars left on the racetrack. Make that 29 as Alex Rampus has just joined that list. 29 cars left on track, 28 of them left on the lead lap. My goodness gracious. Absolute pandemonium breaking down with less than 30 laps to go here at the Michigan International Speedway. This is a somewhat similar race to what we saw at Indianapolis back on the 20th of July. Before we went on that 2-week break, at least 2 to 3 week break, where we saw something similar of the sorts happen out of all places, the back straightaway at Indianapolis. Something similar breaks out here today at the Michigan International Speedway, but the only difference is we didn't get as many flying cars as what we saw just a few weeks ago. But we are almost 3/4 of the way done in the Consumers Energy 400 here at the Michigan International Speedway. Again, if there is anybody that is just tuning in, first of all, so happy that you could be here with us here for our 16th inning here in the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. As always, Elijah Leonard, also known as 11, bringing you the action. We are just almost to the 25 lap to go mark here at the Michigan International Speedway. We are working our 3rd yellow flag of the day. We've just taken 1 to go. And if you're just tuning in, we had a big, major accident that has taken out at least 13 other cars. 18, I should say. If we've... No. My math is completely wrong, but... you see there, at least 11 cars have been taken out of this mess. And we are left with 29 cars left on track. 28 of them left on the lead lap. After a major crash that happened just at the exit of turn number 2. But we're getting ready to restart on lap 75 with 26 laps to go here in Michigan Right now, your top 10 looks like this. The 48 of Terry Walker is your race leader. Zachary Fitzwater in the 9 is second. Then third is Sebastian Palmer trying to go for his second win of the season after winning in Charlotte back in May. Jeremiah Simpson, or excuse me, Chad Gronkowski being shown in fourth. Then Jeremiah Simpson completes the top 5 with Michael Young in sixth, Michael DeFeo in seventh, Stephen Colon showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time today. He's in eighth. Then ninth is the 42 of Nathan Stapleton and Edson Hernandez, who has a pretty good shot at possibly taking the points lead back after the day that he's had today. He's shown in 10th. Here we go. Green is back in the air. And Moscow is very well off the pace, and so is the 38 of Damian Kyle Wood. He backs up everybody behind him. And Wood ended up restarting 11th. But these guys are going to catch up to Moscow here pretty quick, and they're going to split him down the middle. Wood tried to dive low to try to tuck in behind Matthew Hubert, and he reacted quite late to that. He reacted very, very late, but he is going to be able to get by. He is going to be able to get by the 88 here just fine. They are 4 wide down the front straightaway, just trying to get by this 88. And that is going to be a little bit of an easier task, just trying to get by this 88 compared to what we saw with trying to get by Bryce Egan or even Tyler Belladonna a little bit earlier in this race. But you see, a little bit of close contact there between the 83 of Palmer and as well as the 48 of Terry Walker. Walker trying to go for his second win of the season. He wound up winning at Nashville at the end of June. Trying to start off August strong with a win here at Michigan, and he has a pretty good chance of doing just that.
Hello, hey Elijah. This is your future self. I hope your day and your time period is going well. I want to know what's it like in 2024. Did GTA 6 come out yet? Bye-bye.
All right, I have to mute that. I'm sorry, guys. I am so sorry. I was not thinking that was going to happen, so I have to mute that. Anyways. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had to mute that, because usually I try not to play any sort of have sound alerts or any sort of stuff playing in the background, because then that throws off the flow. So, sorry if I have to break the fourth wall and mute that. But focusing back in on this race. Palmer trying to get to the inside to try to go for this race lead, trying to go for his second win on the year. He's down to the inside, trying to get that top spot away. And he might just do that here coming through turn number 4. Sorry, that completely ruined my flow. I am so sorry. That ruined my flow. But anyways, focusing back in. Coming to 20 laps to go this time around. Terry Walker's going to retain the race lead. Sebastian Palmer right there in that second position. Unfortunately, Palmer's going to probably lose that second spot to Jeremiah Simpson, who has definitely got a little bit of a better on the outside. But look at Michael DeFeo trying to make something happen. He's going to go 3 wide. Going to try to put Palmer in the middle. But he himself is actually going to lose some positions. He's going to lose a lot of ground here, as he's going to have to check up. Move Simpson up into the second position. He's trying to go for his first win, along with Zachary Fitzwater in this 9 machine. Fitzy's going to slide up. Try to follow into the tire tracks of the 48. Here comes the 20 of Jeremiah Simpson to the inside. Right up there. Alongside the 48. Just narrowly missing out on leading the 81st lap. As we're inside of 20 laps of racing to go here in Michigan. Back down into turn number 3. Simpson still trying to make that bottom work, but he's not going to have a good enough run. On the front stretch, Walker retains that race lead across the stripe. Simpson might lose that second position heading back through turn 1. So far, Fitzy has edged ahead. At least for now. But heading back through turns 3 and 4, Zachary Fitzwater actually now is going to have a chance at taking the race lead. And try to go for his first win in the McDonald's Cup Series. He could very well do just that. Heading back into turn number 1. He edges ahead. Walker's going to fade back just a little bit, but he might have a run down the back straightaway heading into turn number 3. Walker's still trying to hang on, but Fitzy's got the 48 cleared. Or does he? Wait a second. Hold on a minute. Hold the phone. We've got pit stops. What most likely will be our final round of green flag pit stops. They're just getting started. Fitzy has just started the cycle. Terry Walker is going to be the next to come on down pit road. Who's going to come down with him? That answer? No one. So now it looks like right here, the fight is on. Sebastian Palmer has the race lead. Everybody going 3 abreast. All grouped up in this little old pack. Until you get back over here as well, we got Matthew Hubert in this 23. He's moved up to 8th spot. We still have yet to see more cars eventually come on down pit road if what we just witnessed was accurate. Possibly they could have just come on down and pit for an extra set of tires and possibly some fuel to try to make it the rest of the way. So 100% they are good to go to make it to the distance, to the scheduled distance. But as for everyone else, now those questions are gonna start popping up. Are there drivers that are not able to make it on that tank of fuel that they have left, or on that set of tires that they're currently running on? Can they make it? And if not, when is that fuel gonna run out? And when are they gonna have to come on down pit road? This is actually started to get a little bit interesting. But Jeremiah Simpson holds on to this race lead. Sebastian Palmer, trying to go for win number 2 on the season, is in the 2nd position. And there it is. Edson Hernandez and Chad Gronkowski, both drivers coming down pit road. Felber will follow along with Travis Crampton, Roberto Crown Jr., as well as the 98 of Colin Block. There's Derek Hamill, Stephen Colon. They're all coming down. And I believe Bob Floyd, yes, Floyd is going to join them. So now, as you see Palmer, who's just wrestled the lead away from the 20 of Simpson, this now means that these drivers are also going to have to come on down pit road. Stapleton will follow Simpson, DeFeo, and Palmer. Michael Young wounds up staying out. So do this group of cars being led by Matthew Hubert. So now this is actually going to get pretty interesting. Who is going to wound up with this race lead by the end of it all, and who would be in the perfect seat to win this race? Let's see what this looks like. Adams, Hubert, they all come down pit road. Young surrenders the lead. And this is going to hand the top position over to Colin Block temporarily. Who is still out on track. And if I'm correct, this might have handed the lead back to Sebastian Palmer. That's my prediction. We're inside of 10 laps of racing to go. PJ Vidal being shown as the leader. And he's staying out. He's actually staying out. So is Ryan Durrani. Remember, Edson Hernandez stayed out as well. Remember, Edson Hernandez came down pit road a little bit earlier, not too long ago, along with Chad Gronkowski. So those two drivers, they are good to go the rest of the way. They were amongst some of the first to come on down pit road. Really, it was Fitzy and Terry Walker. Those two really were the ones that started that whole cycle. They came on down. So they're good to go the rest of the way. Ryan Durrani is going to surrender the second position. He'll come on down pit road. PJ Vidal stays out. He's going to stretch this out maybe just another lap longer. But Casey Wells shown third. Remember, she's just coming out, back out onto the racetrack. Now Vidal gets held up by Val Mosco, which will allow Sebastian Palmer, along with Hernandez, and as well as Gronkowski, to get back onto the lead lap. But now the question still is, when is PJ Vidal? How much longer can PJ Vidal stretch this run? I'm willing to bet you PJ Vidal is doing everything in his ability to try to get his first McDonald's Cup Series win. He's trying everything he can. He's getting held up by the 36, who's getting held up, more importantly, by the 1 of Rogel Dorn. Vidal still stays out. And remember, everybody else that's getting around him, they're on fresher tires, and they are good to go on fuel, so they are pretty much set to go to distance. Vidal is still that big question mark right now on how much longer he can actually stay out on the racetrack. But if he pits now, obviously he is out of contention to win this race. And this could actually hand this over to Kyler Sustry. I'm not sure. And here comes Vidal. Vidal could not hold out and stay out on the track any longer. He surrenders the lead. And it looks like this just very well may go to the 83 of Sebastian Palmer. Palmer trying to go for his second win on the year. So is the 31 of Edson Hernandez. So is the 36 of Chad Gronkowski. Remember, he won at Talladega earlier this year. 4 laps of racing to go here in Michigan. Battle for fifth position is on between Simpson and DeFeo. Remember, DeFeo wound up winning at Fontana in dominating fashion. So he's en route for a top 10. So Palmer is going to reassume the top position as you see Vidal come back out onto the racetrack. So it looks like he might be in the 4th spot. 4 to go, 4 to go. And that is the case. PJ Vidal drops to 4th. And now Lap traffic. Most likely, Bob Floyd is the last car that these drivers have to worry about. And Palmer just trying to do everything he can to hold on to this top position. He's going to finally get to the inside of the 10 of Floyd and get around him and put him, I believe, another lap down. Actually, no. Just put him one lap down. Gronkowski through to second with 3 to go. Actually, we have another car to worry about. And I'm not sure if we're going to get to him in time. That is the 43 of Sammy Cars. Palmer starting to check out from the 36 of Gronkowski. Coming to 2 laps to go. Here comes Edson Hernandez trying to get that second position away. This is getting oh so interesting here with 2 to go. Here at the Michigan International Speedway, Sebastian Palmer just trying to hope and pray that those two are not able to find a way around him. But that just very well may become the unfortunate reality for the 83 of Palmer. He's going to get by the 43 of Sammy Cars, and that most likely may be the last car that they'll have to worry about. Here they come to the white flag. 1 lap to go here in Michigan. Palmer leads. Will he be leading? Coming back to the checkered flag. We're just going to have to find that out. All 3 of these cars trying to go for their second win on the season. They work their way down the back straightaway one final time, heading back into turn number 3. Gronkowski is right there on the back bumper. He slides to the inside, and here he comes to the inside, coming off of turn number 4. Get out your cameras. They are side by side at the stripe. Gronkowski gets it at the line. In similar fashion to what he did at Talladega earlier in the season, Chad Gronkowski does it again and edges out Sebastian Palmer to win it here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Oh my goodness. That was an amazing finish that we just witnessed. What a race. Here at the Michigan International Speedway, Sebastian Palmer oh so close to his second win of the year, but still a brilliant effort by the 83 team. He'll come home in second. Hernandez will come home third. Roberto Crown Jr. fourth. Jeremiah Simpson finishing in the 5th spot. Michael DeFeo, then Michael Young, Terry Walker, Ryan Durrani, and Nathan Stapleton. A great job for him today. Top 10 result. As you see the rest of your finishing results from 11th on down to 25th. They all finished on the lead lap. From 26th on down to 29th. They all finished 1 lap down or more. And then your retirees, Alex Rampus, Avon Murray, Parrish, Hange, Savatali, Steidel, Noguera, Jones, Taylor, O'Brien, Belladonna, Bryce Egan, and Josh Lee. Those drivers have unfortunately smelled what the Rock was cooking. And if you're somebody like Tyler Belladonna or even BB Hange or Savatali, for instance, who are very well up there in the points, this definitely is not going to spell good news whatsoever. Going to take a pretty big hit in points. Leaving here today at Michigan. And speaking of the points, if you are watching the premiere on YouTube, be sure to keep an eye on the Discord for those points to come out. Be sure to keep an eye on that Discord in the NRLOA Discord as soon as this premiere concludes. But congratulations to Chad Gronkowski on nabbing his second win of the season here at the Michigan International Speedway in very, very close fashion. Once again, we have Nicholas Samadillo, who is known as Mr. Edge over on AG's channel. I believe we may have our own version of Mr. Edge in Chad Gronkowski. Both times this season, he has managed to edge out the driver who had the lead, or at least was going to wind up winning. He had managed to edge him out once again here at Michigan. One more time, congratulations to Chad Gronkowski. And thank you guys a lot for watching this, whether if you're watching this on YouTube. If you like this, be sure to hit the like button. And if you have not considered subscribing yet, recommend you do so to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And if you're watching this on Twitch, be sure to hit that follow button so you do not miss a future stream. In 2 weeks' time, on August 24th, we will be at the Chicagoland Speedway for our 17th inning. After that race will be 6 races to go in the McDonald's Cup Series season. And as the season winds on down, the stakes get higher, and that means the intensity rate picks up. So it's going to be very fun, and we hope you enjoy what you saw here at Michigan. One more time, big congratulations to Chad Gronkowski on winning. And that does it for us. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you all at Chicagoland.